Hey guys, it's Greg with By the Bootstraps, btbootstraps.com. Check out the store, check out the social media. Sorry it's been a while since I've made any videos. We've had a very active last 2 weeks. Anyway, actually I heard on the news today, or heard on a talk show today, a story about an 84-year-old school crossing guard man who had some amazing allegations leveled against him, and an action that they did that I thought was just unbelievable. In fact, I can't believe that this is allowed. There might be more to the story. I don't know. I can only go off of what's been reported. So this is coming directly from the website The Blaze. Okay. The story is that police confiscate the firearms of a Korean War veteran, 84 years old, after a waitress mishears conversation. All right. The gentleman's name is Stephen Nichols. He's 84 years old. He's from Tisbury, Massachusetts, and he was working as a school cross guard at a local school. All right. He's an 84-year-old Korean veteran. He was serving at the school to basically have something to do because his wife passed away 2 years ago. All right. In a conversation off-site at a local diner, a waitress who misheard a conversation that he was having with a fellow employee, or misunderstood, or took out of context his comment that he had made, caused enough alarm to where she called the police. All right, and they threatened this man with a potential felony charge. They didn't charge him. Okay, they didn't charge him. They said that what he potentially did could have been a felony, which it couldn't be. But what the man said that got taken out of context was that there is a school resource officer at that school. And this resource officer apparently leaves the school at various times to go get coffees or snacks, whatever it is, at a local gas station. Basically, he's not at work, okay? And this 84-year-old Korean veteran said, who's actually been involved in some capacity with law enforcement for the last 60 years. He's been an active gun license carrier since 1958, according to the story. He was telling his co-worker friend that with this resource officer leaving the school, that someone could potentially, or someone could go shoot up the school, because this resource officer, who is supposed to be on site, hence why they're there and why they get paid, was leaving the premise. Now his comment was that someone could shoot up the school, which he's absolutely correct. I mean, look at Parkland, for Christ's sake. You had a resource officer who was there who didn't even bother to go into the building where the firing was happening. Gee, I wonder what happened. What was the aftermath? So he makes this comment, right? Which even in that comment, that comment in and of itself is not a threat. It's just merely a comment. But this waitress, who either misunderstood the conversation, got it out of context, or who knows, maybe she's just vindictive. Oh, you don't know. Reported this man to authorities. They went and seized his guns. Apparently he had a collection of guns, and his guns are to be sold. Okay. He was never charged. He was told that he was going to be dismissed from his jobs, but after a petition from the townsfolk, I mean, the guy must be so horrible that a group of people from the town actually petitioned to have his job reinstated. There was a petition on change.org to have this man reinstated, and he was reinstated. So they found that by their standards there was no criminality there, that they actually allowed him to go back to his job. But yet they still kept his guns, and they were going to sell his guns. My question is, on whose authority can they just come in and confiscate your weapons? Under what pretense and what allegation? What has to happen to initiate someone coming in and forcibly removing your weapons? I've said multiple times that I'm not a big gun guy myself. I respect guns, I like them, but I don't personally have them, as I've mentioned multiple times. But if anyone wants to own a gun, as long as you're not a threat to anyone, as long as you don't have a criminal background that is in assault or physical assault or domestic assault or something of that nature, then I'm 100% for them. I know lots of people who own guns, they never shoot their guns. I know lots of people who own guns and they go down to the firing range pretty regularly. I know some people who own guns and they go hunting pretty regularly. But I also know some people who own guns and they never shoot them. They just sit in cases. I don't know if they like the protection of them, if they just like the fact that they're there. I don't know. But it's their right to have. Who is to sit there and say, and under what authority can they go in and forcibly remove your guns without providing you any measure or written documentation as to why they're doing it? And then second of all, who can just come in and confiscate your weapons without formally charging you and then convicting you? So now an allegation is enough to have your weapons, your right to, they took away not only his weapons, but they also took away his license to carry. Which means this 84-year-old man who is a Korean veteran, who served his country, who's worked in some capacity with law enforcement for the last 6 years on a volunteer status, who is working as a school guard, crossing guard, all right, very active in his role in his community, to the point where he is such, so not a threat that they even petitioned in the town to have him reinstated. All right, where is his voice? Where is his right? And who the hell gives the government the right to come in and do this? This is alarming. Not because I know this man. I don't know this man. Never heard of him up until today. I don't know anything about this. But for all these Second Amendment gun right advocates and gun right owners and people who follow the law and obey the law, this ought to be extremely alarming. So now a simple allegation with no evidence and no proof is enough to strip you of your Second Amendment right. Tell me there's not a confiscation plan for Second Amendment, for the Second Amendment. This here absolutely proves it. Now, if by some weird circumstances that more of the story comes out and it actually is, something on the lines of, no, this man totally went out and threatened people, I will be the very first person to come out here and say, you know what, jump the gun on that video, I need to redact it, or I need to change the wording of it, or whatever. However, as it stands right now, with no corresponding information, I can only assume that it's an assault on his Second Amendment rights, which will very well soon be an assault on your Second Amendment rights. Anyway, comment below, let me know what you guys think, like the video, and talk to you guys later.